20 years ago today, Hurricane Katrina made landfall on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
To this day, it remains the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. 12 News Chief Meteorologist Ken South is live in Waveland, which was devastated by Katrina back in 2005. Ken.
Yeah, the town of Waveland came to be known as Ground Zero after Katrina hit. When the storm came through, its eye wall passed directly over this city. It endured 120-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and the storm surge that came in from the ocean wiped out nearly every structure in the city. Now, Bernie Cullen lived in Waveland at the time, but she was also a nurse working in the city of New Orleans. She was stuck there in New Orleans for the first 3 weeks after the storm hit. Then she came back home to Waveland, but there wasn't much to come back to.
You kind of wonder, how are you ever going to come back? But you know, you do it one day at a time. You do it with your neighbor, you do it with volunteers. You realize that it can't all happen at one time, so you just kind of take it. You take little bites out of the elephant, as they always say. And you know, it's 20 years later.
Cullen is now the board chairperson of the Ground Zero Museum in Waveland. She says Waveland could have disappeared after the storm, but the people here were determined to build back. Now she gives tours at the museum every Tuesday. She says it's important to continue to tell their story so people who weren't here or are too young realize the scope of the disaster and understand the tragedy. Now, if you come here to the Ground Zero Museum in Waveland, you're going to see a lot of artifacts from that time 20 years ago, but you're also going to see these blank postcards. If you're along the Gulf Coast, anywhere from New Orleans all the way through the Panhandle of Florida, and you come here, they want you to write down your story, and some of those stories, they're incorporated in some of the exhibits in the museum, and they've got tons of stories. Actually, they have got books of them. I could have sat here all day flipping through and reading all the incredible stories of survival from 20 years ago. Back to you.
Wow, that's fascinating. Thank you very much. During the 20th anniversary commemoration of Hurricane Katrina in Gulfport, former Governor Haley Barbour spoke of the storm's aftermath. Barbour says when he first saw the damage, it looked like the hand of God had wiped away the coast. To get the coast back on its feet, the former governor and his team knew three things had to take priority: housing, schools, and jobs. State leaders at the time were worried people wouldn't return to the coast.
People weren't going to come back if they didn't have a place to stay. Jobs. I'll never forget flying over Ingalls Shipyard that day. It was just covered in everything. I thought to myself, what if Ingalls Shipyard didn't reopen? What if Chevron didn't reopen? We had to have jobs. If they didn't have good jobs, people wouldn't come back. And last, we had to have schools. Even with housing and a job, if you didn't have a place for your kid to go to school.
Former Governor Barbour also thanked state lawmakers for coming together after the storm to pass legislation needed to help the coast.
Well, Governor Tate Reeves says that former Governor Haley Barbour's leadership during the crisis showed that the world what it meant to be an effective leader. The governor called Barbour's leadership an inspiration, saying his tireless advocacy helped guide Mississippi through Katrina's aftermath. He also thanked former First Lady Marsha Barbour. She went down to the coast with the National Guard to help with recovery efforts.
I think it's fair to say that no one played a more valuable role for the 63rd governor of the state of Mississippi during Katrina than did Miss Marsha. Because she was Haley's eyes and ears on the ground. And she reported back to him every single day. When he wasn't able to get here because he had other responsibilities in getting things done, she was here. And she knew what was going on, and she knew what was needed. And I witnessed it a time or two. I can assure you she made sure whatever needed to be done got done. Ms. Marsha, thank you for your service to our state.
Well, Governor Reeves says that the state has built bigger and better since Hurricane Katrina made landfall 20 years ago.